Welcome back. We're reading the Sealed Nectar. It's pretty cold outside, but I'm nice and warm and snuggly. This is the book biography of the Noble Prophet, peace be with him, the revised edition. It's going to be great. Has been so far. Let's continue. We are in Muhammad's birth and 40 years prior to prophethood, it says, page 117. Rebuilding the Kaaba and the arbitration issue. When Allah's messenger, peace be with him, was 35, the Quraysh started rebuilding the Kaaba. That was because it was a low building of white stones, no more than 9 arms length. From the days of Ishmael, peace be with him, it was also roofless, leaving thieves with easy access to its treasures inside. It was also exposed to the wearing factors of nature, because it was built so long ago, that weakened and cracked its walls. 5 years before the prophethood, there was a great flood in Mecca that swept towards the Kaaba and almost demolished it. The Quraysh were obliged to rebuild it to safeguard its holiness and position. The chiefs of the Quraysh decided to only use licit money in rebuilding the Kaaba. So all money derived from immoral means, usury or unjust practice, was excluded. They were at first too fearful to knock down the wall, but Al-Walid bin al-Mughira al-Mukhzumi began the task. Seeing that no harm had happened to him, the others participated in demolishing the walls until they reached the bases laid by Ibrahim, peace be with him. When they started rebuilding its walls, they divided the work among the tribes. Each tribe was responsible for rebuilding a part of it. The tribes collected stones and started work. The man who laid the stones was a Roman mason called Bacchum. The work went on in harmony until the time came to put the sacred black stone in its proper place. Then strife broke out among the chiefs and lasted for 4 or 5 days, each contesting for the honor of placing the stone in its position. Daggers were on the point of being drawn, and great bloodshed seemed imminent. Oh wow! I wouldn't even have thought of that. That like people would have contested with each other, but obviously that'd be like, if you're like the leader of that tribe, man, you want your tribe to be the one to do it, right? Luckily, the oldest among the chiefs, Abu Umayyah bin Mughira al-Makhzumi, made a proposal that was accepted by all. He said, "Let him who enters the sanctuary first of all decide on the point." It was then that Allah's will that the messenger of Allah, peace be with him, should be the first to enter the masjid. On seeing him, all the people present cried with one voice, "Al-Amin, the trustworthy has come. We are content to abide by his decision." They informed him of their objective. He asked for a mantle, spreading it on the ground and placing the stone in its center. He then asked the representatives of the different clans among them to lift the stone all together. When it reached the proper place, Muhammad, peace be with him, laid it in the proper position with his own hands. This is how a very tense situation was eased, and a grave danger averted by the wisdom of the Prophet, peace be with him. The Quraysh ran out of the illicit money they collected, so they eliminated an area covering 6 arms length on the northern side of the Kaaba, which is called Al-Hijr or Al-Hatim on the northern side. They raised its door from the level ground to let it in only the people whom they desired. When the structure was 15 arms length high, they erected the roof, which rested on 6 columns. When the building of the Kaaba was finished, it assumed a square form about 15 meters high. The side with the black stone and the one opposite were 10 meters long each. The black stone was 1.50 meters from the circumambulation level ground. The 2 other sides were 12 meters long each. The door was 2 meters high from the level ground. A building structure of 0.25 meter high and 0.30 meter wide on the average surrounded the Kaaba. It was called Ashad Herwan, Okay, I shut it. Originally an integral part of the sacred sanctuary, but the Quraysh left it out. Okay, the next section says a summary of Muhammad's biography before commissioning of the prophethood. It's amazing how I never thought that much about the Kaaba. I mean, it wasn't something that me growing up that I, needed to know about or anything like that. But it's really culturally enriching to understand the history behind it. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be with him, was in his youth a combination of the best social attributes. He was an exemplary man of weighty mind and faultless insight. He was favored with intelligence, originality of thought, and accurate choice of the means leading to accurate goals. His long silence helped favorably in his habit of meditation and deep investigation into the truth. His vivid mind and pure nature were helpfully instrumental in assimilating and comprehending ways of life and people, individual and community-wise. He shunned superstitious practices but took an active part in constructive and useful dealings. Otherwise, he would have taken a route to his self-adopted seclusion. He kept himself aloof from drinking wine, eating meat slaughtered on the stone altars, or attending idolatrous festivals. He held the idols in extreme aversion and disgust. He could never tolerate someone swearing by Al-Lat and Al-Uzza. Allah's guidance and care, no doubt, detached him from all repulsive or evil practices. Even when he tried to obey his instinct to enjoy some life pleasures or follow some unrespectable traditions, Allah's providence intervened to control any slip in this course. Ibn al-Athir reported Muhammad, peace be with him, as saying, I have never tried to do anything the people of ignorance did except for 2 times. Every time Allah intervened and checked me from doing so, and I never did that again. Once I told my fellow shepherd to take care of my sheep when we were in the upper part of Mecca. I wanted to go down to Mecca and entertain myself as the young men did. I went down to the first house in Mecca where I heard music. I entered and asked, What is this? Someone answered, It is a wedding party. I sat down and listened, but soon went into a deep sleep. I was awakened by the heat of the sun. I went back to my fellow shepherd and told him what happened to me. I never tried it again. Al-Bukhari reported on the authority of Jabir bin Abdullah that he said, while the people were rebuilding the Kaaba, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be with him, went with Abbas to carry some stones. Abbas said, Put your loincloth round your neck to protect you from the stones. As he did that, the Prophet, peace be with him, fell to the ground and his eyes turned skyward. Later on, he woke up and shouted, My loincloth, my loincloth! He wrapped himself in his loincloth. In another report, his loins were never seen afterwards. The Prophet, peace be with him, was distinguished among his people for his modesty, virtuous behavior, and graceful manners. He proved himself to be the ideal of manhood, and to possess a spotless character. He was the most obliging to his compatriots, the most honest in his talk, and the mildest in temper. He was the most gentle-hearted, chaste, and hospitable. He always impressed people by his piety-inspiring expressions. He was the most truthful and the best to keep a covenant. His fellow citizens, by common consent, gave him the title of Al-Amin, the trustworthy. The mother of believers, Khadijah, peace be with her, once said, He maintains ties of kinship. He helps the poor and the needy. He entertains the guests and stands with oppressed for truth. And stands with oppressed for truth. I don't get that. Stands with oppressed for truth. Stands with the oppressed for truth? Stands with oppressed for truth. Like, ducks deeply meditate? I'm not sure exactly what that means. So the prophet was modest, virtuous, good-mannered, had a good character, said that manlyhood, so he wasn't effeminate, which is good. I don't understand that much about the loincloth, what they were talking about. Loincloth goes around your waist. Did it fall down? I don't understand. I think I missed something. Jabir bin Abdullah, they said, while the people were rebuilding the Kaaba, they're carrying the stones. Oh yeah, so he put it around his neck. So he put his loincloth around his neck, but his area wasn't exposed, or maybe it wasn't really that modest. So he didn't want to expose his like upper or inner thigh. Kind of wrap and cover yourself. Okay, I think I get it. Khadija, the businesswoman. Then they said these idols, Al-Lat and Al-Uzza. Interesting. It's amazing that that still is around, the names of those idols, fam. Alright, hope you learned something.